Election 2011 coverage on Manx Radio.
This morning, a candidate bidding to build on his first 2 years of Manx politics, Chris Robertshaw, won the East Douglas, or Douglas East, by-election, an election soured somewhat by the blind trust issue. Formerly running a major Douglas hotel, the Sefton, married, 2 children, 62 years old, lives in Crosby. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
Robertshaw. You've not accepted government office in the first 2 years, quote, to get up to speed. Well, are you up to speed yet?
Yes, I think I am, but it's you're not. It's 1 year, not 2.
1 year?
Yeah.
You've only been in for 1 year?
Yeah, that's all.
It just seems you've been with us for so long, Mr. Roberts.
Well, that's kind of you, John.
Yes, you've not accepted government office, but next time, if you win again, would you go in and accept it?
Of course I would. I mean, really, we've had a phony war, haven't we, since 2006, when really we should have implemented at that stage the scope and structure of government report. We didn't, and we sort of left everything in abeyance till quite recently, and now things are starting to engage. I've spent so really it'll have to kick in after the next election in a very big way to react to the difficulties we've got on.
You entitled your manifesto A New Approach.
Well, that's right. I entitled it New Approach in 2006 because that's what we needed. I entitled it the same, at the by-election. And in fact, it'll be exactly the same title this time because we really need to get on with the changes. Under Mr. Brown, we've had a phony war, really, and now we've really got to get on with the job.
Well, just talk about the changes. Obviously, the 75 million over 3 years. Now, there are going to have to be cuts made somewhere in income. Where would you make the cuts? Specifically, where would you make cuts?
Well, you say, it's 75 million. It's 75 million developed and built up over 3 years, isn't it? And if you looked at 75 million as an expression of our gross income, it's 3% per annum over 3 years. If you look at it as a proportion of our net income and expenditure, it's 5%. So really, we've got a 3-year process now to drive our costs down. To specifically answer your question, well, certainly over that 3-year period, there's going to have to be an adjustment in manpower. That's self-evident.
So cut government numbers?
Absolutely. Over time, progressively, so that it's as comfortable as possible. We have to grow the private sector, we have to shrink the public sector, but we have to do it in a humane, sensible way.
Which is expensive in terms of redundancy payments, etc.?
If you did it over a 3-year period, you obviously want to try and avoid that as much as you can. I can't guarantee that will arrive, but I mean that's what we'd aim for. Presumably, any sensible person would.
You've described not all your colleagues, I hope, as pedestrian and self-seeking, or you did before you actually took your seat. Do you still have that view?
Well, I found the process in the last year I found the whole process somewhat an exercise in navel-gazing. I think there's been a disconnect between the political process and the people, and there's a need to draw those things together. I've said that many times, but now more than ever, that's got to happen because people have got to be engaged in the process of where's the island going, what are our key services that we really want to maintain, what are the areas that we're willing to let go or change.
You've spoken about many issues, young people, Iris in particular, but can I just go into a local issue as far as East Douglas is concerned? The state of East Douglas, what can be done? What would you like to see done?
Well, there are two key issues as far as
the transport system you want to see integrated.
Yeah, well, yes, but I mean that now has to be pushed back somewhat because of the state of our budget. So we'll have to put that a little bit back. I think the two key areas are car parking and housing, and I don't think the Isle of Man really has an imaginative approach to our housing policy.
And you don't like car parks? You describe them as great big ugly blocks.
No, the car parking problems for the residents of East Douglas.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, you'd see the traffic problem. Obviously, you see it as a major problem for the city, for Douglas.
Yes,
town.
I do. There are certain residential areas in Douglas East itself which have to be reclaimed for the residents, and there's quite a lot of work to do there to achieve that.
If you did accept government office, if you were offered it, etc., which departments do you think you'd be best suited to?
Well, it's not for. I mean, the first job surely is to get re-elected.
Get re-elected, but if there's a lot of ifs and buts.
If I do get re-elected,
where do you think you'd do the most use?
Well, I'd go where I was asked to go, really. But I'd be interested in Treasury, in DED, in infrastructure, quite a lot of areas. Yeah.
And the way ahead pretty tough? Is the island up to it?
I think we are, yes. I mean, I'm really glad that we've actually got hold of the problem now and we can get on with it and face the future with a certain degree of determination and a bit of courage too.
Mr. Robertshaw, thank you very much for joining us. Chris Robertshaw, who's standing in the Douglas East election in September. It's 8 o'clock.